Hey y'all, welcome back to Hopped Up Beer Review. It's another Macro Monday, and today we are trying Miller High Life from the Miller Brewing Company out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to everybody's favorite Monday. It's Macro Monday, and we're excited to bring you another review of a macro beer. But before we get there, be sure to like, subscribe, and cheers that notification bell. And check us out on social media. Links are below in the description. And check us out on Discord. Again, that link is also below. Jump in and say, hey, we'd love to see you there. I've got Andy in the attic. I've got Jay. What are we macro Mondaying tonight? What? No. Yeah.
We're running with that one.
Well, yeah, of course.
The champagne of beer, Miller High Life, from Miller Brewing Company out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Now, I think I missed the memo because I thought we were doing the really, I thought this was like the big boy drinking show. So I got the 32 ouncer.
I got my can, my bag.
Yeah.
All right. So we're all freestyle tonight. Tonight's a freestyle review.
Yeah.
Of the actual
Is
beer.
yours a 32 ounce there?
This is absolutely. This is the big boy.
No.
Yours got the 16.
I just went with the 16 on this one.
Yeah.
You know, the convenience store costs $1.41. So, and the lady in front of me, she got the Bud Light, which was 30 cents more expensive. It was $1.71. I said, hey, you can't go wrong. I mean,
$1.82. So
there you go.
Nice.
You know, so
you got the
40
most
extra
value.
Cents. There you go.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
I'm expecting
doubled
to
it.
rate. I'm expecting to rate this one really high. That's what I got to do. So I'm really expecting to enjoy this one. So I'm done talking.
You're going to be drinking a while. Hey, I'm just drinking out of the can tonight, y'all. The bag can and everything.
Here comes that biased opinion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I brought out the Arsenal glass because it's the biggest one I have. Maybe not by volume, but by at least height. And they are atop the leaderboard of the table currently.
Lord.
Go Gunners.
Yeah. Well, this is a Pilsner, 4.6% ABV, 7 IBUs. All right. Cheers to another Macro Monday, y'all.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates. Maybe I should just drink out of the can.
Well, Ben, that glass, try it from the glass. It's designed to hold the foam in. Let's see it.
There you go. Look at that.
That
Foam
cylindrical
yeah.
type of glass, you know, it's meant to have head.
Okay.
And that way you can let the CO2 escape. You can trap some aroma, and then you can drink without getting it in your face.
If you want to trap the Miller High Life aroma.
Trap the aroma. Yeah, I don't know that trapping the aroma is the best idea on a Macro Monday, but you know, we'll see how it goes. See how it goes. So I've sampled from the can and from the glass tonight. So
yeah. Well,
what
when
do we
it
know?
comes to your review time, you'll be able to tell us what you think of the differences. So this first was released in 1903, the Miller High Life. It was back then coined as the champagne of bottle beer. Now we just call it the champagne of beers. And the reason they said that is because it had a high level of carbonation similar to champagnes back then, but more carbonation than other beers at the time. And back then it was like a premium high-end beer for years. The Girl in the Moon did not come around till a little later. It was trademarked in 1907. Not a lot is known about. No record of where the idea came from. Some speculation it is from the granddaughter of the original founder of Miller Brewing Company, Frederick Miller. So, and Frederick Miller was a German immigrant. He was an apprentice in a brewery in Germany. At one point, he was the brewmaster to a German prince, and that was around 1849. But in 1854, he immigrated, settled in Milwaukee, and in 1855, for $2,300, he bought the Plank Road Brewery, and then from there, changed it to Miller Brewing Company, and so they were brewing beer before 1903 is when the High Life came out, and that's their flagship beer. So, yeah.
Would that still be considered their flagship beer today?
Technically, but because Miller Lite, that we all know, that's a little more popular, is the light version of the High Life.
Sure, it's not MGD.
Yes, because MGD, I did see that MGD didn't come out until 1985.
Right.
Miller Lite came out in 1972 or 72, 73, somewhere around there.
So is this the one they use at sporting events like auto races where they shake it up and spray it all over each other?
I think that is actual champagne.
Yeah.
Oh.
Those are the beers of champagne. Yes.
Person to ask. I mean, come on.
They do the cheaper ones right there. Just in the big magnums, it looks so, expensive. No, those are just the beers of champagne that they're spraying all over each other. They don't want to waste the good stuff.
Well, so I'm going to assume that we have all had this.
Yeah.
At some point in our lives, yes. Whether it was beer pong or something else.
I was trying to think the last time that I remember having this, and I think it's been probably the last time I remember having it is probably about almost 20 years. I want to say it was the last time that I had it. Yeah, that I remember.
That you remember.
That's just distinctively remember drinking Miller High Life. So it's not something I pick up frequently.
Yeah, and originally it was bottled, like, back in the early 1900s, it was bottled in mini champagne bottles. So to kind of catch on the name Champagne of Beers to make it sound all fancy.
And doesn't this also come in ponies?
Yes, they also did the ponies and made those popular too. They still make them in ponies. And I was contemplating buying the ponies, but I wanted the original, well, not the original, the current glass that it has.
Did you buy a six-pack of that?
I did, because and I'll get into it. I'll actually get into that when I actually get to rating it. The yeast that is made for High Life, that was originally made for High Life, was brought over. It was a special brewer's yeast that Frederick Miller brought over from Germany, and it is still brewed today with a descendant of that yeast.
It seems to be a common theme because we saw the same thing with Coors, right?
Yeah.
That they brought yeast over from overseas,
it was the malt variety that they planted in their garden over there.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
So bringing ingredients from other countries, other places, very interesting.
So another interesting thing is, you've heard beer needs to be in dark bottles or cans so that the light won't spoil it. It spoils if it's in white or green or clear or green glasses. Well, Miller Brewing Company got a patent for the process of creating light, stable hops. So Galena hops are the main hops that's been used for years, and in 2003, and I don't know when the actual process started, but they applied for the patent in 2003 to create special light stable hops so that it will be resistant to going through whatever chemical process that creates the skunk taste.
Wow, so that's super interesting.
They did that because I think they just wanted to keep the or 2002 patent. I think it was they applied in 2002, but I think they wanted to keep the clear bottle going. And that patent process, I think, expires sometime next year. So they applied in 2002, and I was researching. I just went. I was like, I found that, and so I went to the website for the U.S. Patent Office, and it is a lot of technical jargon, scientific, and I was like, I don't understand half this stuff until I started getting to some points. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's really cool. The interesting thing is, I think, because I was going to ask, when does the patent run out? You know,
sometime next year.
So will we start seeing more? Clear bottles at that point.
Going to be an option, especially for, I don't know if some sours are going to want to do it, so you can actually see the color. I don't know how expensive that process is.
But it's not the bottle; it's the hops. It's the way that they're treating the hops.
Correct.
So
yeah, it's something about acidity levels and light and reaction. So
it's interesting. They could almost go the opposite route with the way technology for glasses and things have been like that, and to make them even a metal stack so that it's translucent, and you could have it that way as well.
Yeah, find the glass that repels that UV.
Yeah, because we've done some projects that block lasers and things like that through glass. I mean, the glass will hold them back. It's just like a tint, but it could be a clear tint if you want to look at it that way.
That's pretty cool. Get on that, Miller.
Are we going to cut that part out of the video? As you drink from your pound bag.
As he drinks. Nobody knows what he does. So 1855, it was bought. It was in the family until 1966. That's when they started selling it. And actually, it's been sold more times than I realized. So 1966, they sold it to some smaller company. And then in 1969, Philip Morris bought Miller Brewing Company. And they outbid PepsiCo. Pepsi tried to buy it. Then SAB, which I never knew what SAB stood for. It's South African Breweries. I never knew that. South African Breweries, SAB, bought it in 2002 to become SAB Miller. And then SAB Miller formed Miller Coors in 2008. And then, let me get this right. Oh, no, they formed Miller Coors 2008 with Molson Coors. So Molson Coors and them created as one in 2008. So the U.S., I think, and then
it's Molson now, right?
Yeah, Molson Coors now.
Yeah, because I actually know some folks that work for Molson Corporate.
In 2015, there was about to be, I'm sure there would have been some type of legal, and then that's why the U.S. Justice Department had to intervene, because Anheuser-Busch InBev tried to buy it, SAB Miller, but the Justice Department stepped in and said, okay, SAB Miller has to divest itself of all Miller. So now it's just Miller Coors instead of the SAB. So they got, Anheuser-Busch got the SAB and Miller went to just Molson Coors. I mean, can you imagine the size?
Yeah. Don't you love when the government decides that businesses can't merge?
And it wouldn't have been the biggest monopoly, because there's so many beers and breweries.
We've seen that a couple of times this year in my industry where the government's restricted mergers, so they can't happen. I'm like,
you did say mergers, because I didn't know of a time where they would not restrict mergers.
Mergers,
yes.
Yes, mergers and acquisitions.
Okay.
All right. Any more nerd out information?
Yes. In
Wow.
1966, when they sold it out of the family hands, it was the granddaughter of Frederick Miller who wanted to sell it because she objected to alcohol of all things.
Is this the same suspected granddaughter that's on the bottle?
It didn't give me names of the suspected granddaughter on the bottle. It did give one name of a granddaughter who sold it, who agreed to sell, but no, it didn't go so much into the other name. But the High Life coined the phrase, if you've got the time, we've got the beer.
Okay.
And then that, I'm done nerding.
All right. That's a lot of information. Thank you, Andy, for
it's a Macro Monday,
researching that. Yeah. That's the great thing about the macros is there's a plethora of information for Andy to dive into and share with us on a Macro Monday. So again, definitely appreciate you doing that.
Yeah,
let's go around and rate. Jay, how about you go first?
Sure, why not? Well, despite the paper can, it is the High Life, right? As such, the champagne and beers, maybe on the domestic side of the true macros, I give this a 5.
Okay. All right, I'll hop in there. So again, it's been a long time since I've had this one. I was definitely excited to try it again, and I think one of the really fun things for me, one of the really fun things for me with these macros is to go back and try them when we're actually trying to rate them and trying to think about them compared to the other craft beer that we're reviewing and drinking all the time. Because I think, myself, like you guys, I mean, we'll have, a macro beer here and there. But if we're anywhere where we can have anything else, we're getting anything else, right? I mean, I'm getting an IPA before I'm getting a macro. And I know that's going to shock many of the viewership out there. But, again, it's been a while. And so it's fun to come back and look at these with a different lens. I actually don't think this one's that bad. I mean, it's not going to really compete with, a lot of the crafts that we rate really high and stuff. But for the macro, I think it's okay. I think it's one that, I would get a 6-pack here and there and kind of have at the end of the night after I've had maybe a couple of craft beers just to, get something a little bit not so heavy, a little bit not so high ABV, that sort of thing. So all that being said, and maybe it's the 32-ounce can, kicking in. I don't know. But all that being said, I'm going to give it a 6.5. I think it's okay.
Score.
For you.
Yeah. So the reason you asked why, I got a 6-pack. Did I get a 6-pack? Yeah. It's a little nostalgia. I haven't bought the bottles in a while, but in my days where I had fewer dollars to spend on beer, this was a good beer that I would just have in the fridge, or it was a yard beer because I've got my little, my white tee that I would come home for work sometimes and just, take off the shirt and just have my undershirt and just wander around the yard and just, enjoy the outdoors for what few hours of daylight I had left in the day and walk around with my yard beer. And so that's why, I'll keep a few of these in beer fridge. And if I get done mowing the lawn and I just want to hang out outside while it's kind of cooled down a little bit in the evening, I'll walk around with my yard beer and remember once again. So that's why I wanted to kind of live the High Life again. But I didn't look back at what I rated it the last time I put it on, like Untapped, on purpose. And I wanted, like you said, to look at it a different way based on how we've been, somewhat biased and unprofessional on here looking at beers. I'm thinking a 5.5 on this one. So it's not like horrible and all, but based on what all we drink, it's it's just not to that standard. But it's Pilsner and it tastes American Pilsnery.
You didn't get the 32-ounce can. That's the difference here. I think
maybe I need more of it to elevate.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm almost done with the can here. I got a little bit left here in my glass. So, I think that's the difference right there. All right, everybody. That will give us a 5.7 for the Miller High Life. Hey, drink the High Life, man. Give it a shot. And if you get the big can, that's where it's at. I'm telling you, this is This is your big boy, and maybe it just tastes a little bit better in the very large can. I don't know.
Was there any difference between the can or the glass?
I think the glass is a little bit better because it does let out some of that carbonation. I rarely drink out of a can anymore just for that reason alone. Yeah, I think it's going to be better in the glass for sure. My personal unprofessional and somewhat biased opinion. So, but yeah, be sure to like, subscribe, and cheers that notification bell. Check us out on social media. Come say hey on Discord. For Andy in the attic and Jay, I am Ben. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.